This is the AM News. Let's begin from the camp of Immani Africa. Now, Vice President of Immani Africa, Bright Simmons, has thrown his support behind the National Democratic Congress in their bid to investigate the contentious Ejapa deal. Mr. Simmons alleges the deal, if allowed to proceed, will be a conduit for corruption. Speaking on Newsfile on Saturday, he said he agreed with those who had criticized the arrangement, stating that the NDC's determination to probe the deal and hold accountable those involved is commendable.
The deal has been a subject of intense controversy and debate. As the controversy rages on, the NDC says it will prosecute all persons enmeshed in the deal once power is handed them. Sami Jemfe is the communication officer of the party.
We hold the position that the Ejapa deal was and is in to the interests of the Ghanaian people, because what it basically sought to do was to sell forward our mineral royalties for a pittance and at a grossly undervalued price, as posterity has shown. If you do the analysis of what they sought to do, we're virtually giving our gold resources for $200 per ounce, when today posterity has shown that the price is $2,000 and above. So clearly this was a rip-off.
As the scrutiny surrounding the deal intensifies, Vice President of Immani Africa, Bright Simmons, on Newsfile gave the NDC some pointers in their quest to investigate the deal.
The issue is not just about the $12 million spent. More will be spent. We think 3 times more will be spent if this process continues to the end, because they have to now pay underwriters and investment bankers. And for that reason, and given the fact that we think it's incurably bad, the government must formally tell us they've stopped pursuing Ejapa. That is the issue. Ejapa could be a conduit for massive corruption, the way it has been designed. The starting point for the NDC will be to call for the agreements between all of these entities.
But in a spirited defense, the MPP is fighting off claims that the deal is bad. Director for Communications, Richard Ahiagba, believes the deal is in the best interest of the country.
This whole Ejapa thing is complex. Something I hope you appreciate that. It's a complex, abstract concept to try to create value for this country. So not a lot of people understand what Ejapa is. And so it is possible, and it is easy to leverage that confusion and want to extract political value out of it.
Residents in the Ako Enclave of the whole West District struggle to survive as they lack access to basic social amenities in their communities. Life is unbearable in the enclave due to the unavailability of a health center, electricity and potable water. Fred Kwame Asari has the rest of the story.
The Ako Enclave consists of about 7 satellite communities settled on the boundaries of the Kalakpa Resource Reserve in the West District. It is arguably the most deprived enclave in the Volta region. Residents here survive on peasant farming, hunting, animal rearing and gari production. The communities do not have access to potable water. 2 boreholes in Ako, which they rely on, produce saline water. Due to their impoverished lifestyle, they are compelled to fall on frog-infested dams. They explain they have to fetch the muddied water and allow it to settle overnight.
A
community health post constructed by the Member of Parliament, Emmanuel Bedra, is not operational as health workers have rejected posting to the satellite community. Residents travel on motorbikes on the deplorable road to access healthcare in Joapon, which is about an hour's journey. A rural electrification project has stalled after high tension poles were erected, while those of lower tension are yet to be erected. JoyNews check revealed that the contractor abandoned the project due to the lack of transformers and other materials.
COVID-19 eva webe gieno kwa material chole tugumo over level uta webe light eva shi yapoji aka COVID-19 eva jo MP ole don te faro disi ole don te fare COVID-19 ria feta ko ja ko uwachi ko ngo idare kama gavawa.
In the absence of electricity, the residents adopted the use of solar energy to charge their phone batteries. This development is affecting their economic activities and livelihoods.
Solar, ya jimi la bla, mio nuke la hafi, mio battery la, hafi mio phone ata odone mi. Vona nyabe shi jango yi odola, kache mio phone la umeti odone mi.
It is the prayer of the residents that a benevolent individual or an organization comes to their aid and provide them with potable water, while calling on the government to fast-track the rural electrification project. Fred Kwame Asari, JoyNews, Avetakpo.
Now, while global migration figures continue to surge, reaching 281 million in 2020, migration regulation in the West Africa sub-region has been described by experts as outdated. Commenting on ECOWAS's travel migration protocol at a stakeholder dialogue in Accra, Director of the Center for Migration Studies at the University of Ghana, Professor Setrana Boatema, said there is a need for a review of some of ECOWAS's protocols on migration, describing such protocols as a cake. Karen Obeng has the rest of the story in the following report.
Since the earliest times, humanity has been on the move. Some people move in search of work, economic opportunities, to join families. Others also escape conflict, persecution, or large-scale human rights violations. As of July 2020, the global number of international migrants was estimated at 281 million. The current figure is said to be 3 times higher than it was in 1970. Speaking at the dialogue, the director of the Center for Migration, Professor Setrana Boatema, told journalists that the dialogue was an opportunity for stakeholders to take a critical look at the phenomenon and promote the prospects in there. She also called for some ECOWAS protocols to be scrapped.
We want to move from the negative narrative that seems to tell the story that everybody wants to go out there by hook or crook, kill themselves. No. What we are trying to say is that we need to create a common dialogue. And what is that common dialogue? And so in my welcome note, I raise questions. We need to be critical. We need to move beyond the usual of migration discussions that don't talk about the restrictive borders, abusive border controls, don't talk about equal partnerships where we can export our excess or perhaps the skills that we may not need and then bring in demands of skills that we also need. We talk about transnational skills partnership, equal platform where the migrant benefits, the country of home also, the home country benefits, and the destination also benefits. And even to us as ECOWAS, as we have said, we have always been moving, but what's the difference now? There's so much influence into our ECOWAS protocol, which is impeding on our rights as ECOWAS nationals. We need to ask ourselves, what's the current situation? If Niger is out, if Burkina Faso is out, if Mali is out, what happens to these citizens? And what happens to us as nationals? We shouldn't forget about the extensive cross-border trading.
A project coordinator for an NGO in Belgium emphasized the need to highlight the positive aspects of migration.
What is the real facts about migration? What we each time see is that people doesn't make false and fake news about migration. So the first thing that we have to do, everyone has to learn, is bring the news and bring the messages, but just messages, just news. That's very important. Second, if you're doing that, use every time the voice of the migrant. Listen to him and bring his voice into your message. So that's a kind of rebalancing. When you're speaking about migration, you need to bring the voice of the migrant into your message.
There was a number of presentations from the European Union, International Labour Organization, Ghana Refugee Board, and the Ghana Immigration Service, among others. The Center for Migration focuses on research and education related to migration trends, policies, and impacts, particularly in the African context. It offers academic programs and engages advocacy and policy dialogue to address the complex issues surrounding migration. Karen Obing's report read to you.
In other stories, residents of Samoa in the Lambuisi districts of the Upper West region are heaving a sigh of relief following a commissioning of the water sanitation hygiene facility by the Netherlands Development Organization. The facility has a 10,000-litre capacity and 4-seater water closet toilet equipped with bathrooms and hand-washing basins. Speaking at the commissioning, Country Director of SNV, Barbara White Nkwala, said the project will improve the living standards of the people. Rafik Salam reports from Samoa.
The Healthy Future for All project is a 3-year project that seeks to uplift community water supply, sanitation and hygiene, and nutrition conditions in the Lambuisi district and Nandon municipality. The main objective of the project is to improve the living standards of community members and also build the capacity of members to ensure sustainability of the project with special focus on water, sanitation, water, health and nutrition. The project is being funded by the Hamsley Charitable Trust and implemented by the Netherlands Development Organization, SNV. As part of the project, the SNV commissioned an improved water sanitation, hygiene, wash facility at Samoa in the Lambuisi district. The facility has limited solar-powered mechanized water system with a 10,000 liters capacity and a 4-seater water closet toilet equipped with bathrooms and hand-washing basins. Mayors of residents, including traditional rulers, representatives from the Nandon municipal and Lambuisi district assemblies and health directorates attended the event. Country Director of SNV, Barbara White Nkwala, noted that the main objective of the project is aimed at improving the living standards of the people through improved water access to water services and other interventions. Barbara White Nkwala laid bare some interventions rolled out since the inception of the project in 2022.
We want to change and transform systems and work with government on their priorities to make lasting change and lasting impact. Since the start of this project in 2022, the project has successfully completed and handed over 4 solar water systems to 4 different communities, including 2 health centers. We've completed the 8 solar water systems and 8 sanitation facilities, 2 schools, and 6 healthcare facilities. We've also distributed 200 hand washing facilities. You will see one over here. That's a demonstration of the 200 that we have installed.
Lambuisi District Chief Executive Gerald Naruri underscored the important role sanitation plays in the life of the people.
I wish to indicate that the Assembly continues to benefit a lot from the SNV's intervention in other areas such as capacity building of artisans, staff of the Assembly, empowerment of the women in CLTS through cash grants, construction of latrines for the vulnerable in about 40 communities, distribution of hand washing facilities, basic schools, and etc.
Lambuisi District Director of Health Services, Jedu Binu, commended Healthy Future for All and the SNV for the support, calling for more infrastructure and equipment for the Samoa Health Center. Equally grateful grateful to SMV and their partners is the Chief of Lambuse, Kuro Isa Katanzie, stating that the intervention will significantly impact on their lives.
I would like to join Samokuro and all the chiefs and people of Samoa and for the Matuatia area to thank SMV and whoever that is involved to bring about this water facility to this health center. I know it's the target is health center, but I know the whole of Samoa, including me, will drink this water. It is so important to us. We are very, very grateful to SFV and everybody who is involved.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam, Samoa.
That's an interesting report there from Rafik Salam. But moving on, some selected journalists from the Bono East and five northern regions have been trained to counter propaganda narratives and mis- or disinformation ahead of the 2024 general elections. Programs Officer for Media and Good Governance at the Media Foundation for West Africa, Aji Zatu Moro Maiga, says this training will empower the selected journalists to fact-check claims made by politicians in the build-up to the December polls. Anas Sabit has more.
Elections are a very sensitive period, and the impact of mis- and disinformation can disrupt the process and, in the worst-case scenario, lead to electoral violence. And as Ghana gears towards the 2024 general elections, the Foundation for West Africa, with support from the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, is spearheading a training workshop for some selected journalists on fact-checking and countering disinformation. Program Officer in the Media and Good Governance Program and the lead coordinator for the two-day workshop held in the northern part of the country, Adiza Tomorrow Maiga, says the move is to empower journalists to counter propaganda narratives ahead of the general elections.
You know, we are in an election year, and during elections a lot happens in terms of misinformation, and people use social media platforms to spew out false information, causing harm, and it can even degenerate into violence. So at the Media Foundation for West Africa, with funding from FCDO, we have rolled out these capacity building workshops in 7 out of the 16 regions of Ghana of journalists to equip them with skills to counter misinformation during this election period.
To the 25 selected media practitioners across the Bono East and the 5 northern regions, what does this training session mean to them, and how do they intend to use the knowledge gained to educate the masses about the dangers of mis- and disinformation?
As someone working in the 450, we have a responsibility to ensure that what we feed our consumers is actually the right information. And so this exercise has given me the skills and has built my competence to be able to fact-check information before I put it out to my followers.
I'm just going to make use of the fact-checking tools because well, we know in election years, people sometimes out of excitement, sometimes emotions run high, and then they say certain things that are not facts. So I think with this election, the electorate is actually willing to hear the truth. So with this fact-checking, I believe that when information comes out and I pass it through fact-checking and it's true, it actually makes the electorate well informed.
Emmanuel also known as Gachi, he works with Free FM Interchairman. He lauded the Media Foundation for West Africa for the training and called on government and other stakeholders to support such ventures to help minimize conflicts during elections.
This information, disinformation, misinformation, malinformation, what have you, goes a long way to tarnish the image of the president, the image of the ministers, the image of the ordinary Ghanaian. But we don't want to spend money in educating the citizenry, knowing how to identify falsehood and propaganda
propagate the truth. So I appeal to Media Foundation, they should revise their 2-day workshop to at least 3 days. And the government of the day should also have interest in sponsoring this kind of education. It is very, very, very important. They should continue organizing such training.
The resource persons, Stephen Tindi of Unimark and Raymond of JoyNews, spent several hours exposing the participants to the dangers of spreading mis and disinformation and various fact-checking tools to help them identify fake news in the electioneering period. Anas Sabit, JoyNews, Tamale.
Right, so that's how we end the AM News for this morning on the AM show right here on JoyNews. Up next is the news review. NPP parliamentary candidate for Ako Enclave, Dr. Rashid Kwesi Etuafo, will be joining Benjamin Akakpo for the news review. Please stay with us for that.